you will hear a student presentation about chemicals called dioxins. First, you have some time to read through questions 11 to 20. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 20.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to present my research project about dioxins today. First, I'd like to offer a short explanation as to why I chose dioxins as my presentation topic. In the United States, we hear a lot about dioxins, but not everybody understands where they come from or why they are harmful. I'd like to explain those two topics first, and then talk a little bit about how to avoid exposure to these harmful chemicals and what we can do to decrease the presence of dioxins in our land, air, and even food. First of all, what are dioxins? Well, they are considered one of the dirty dozen, which is a group of organic pollutants that are extremely dangerous to nature and habitats. Researchers have identified about 419 different types of dioxin compounds in existence, but only about 30 of those are thought to contain a significant amount of toxicity. Let's now discuss where they come from. Dioxins are produced from either industrial processes or natural processes. For instance, they form during the production of herbicides and pesticides sprayed on the ground. They are also formed during combustion activities such as trash burning. Garbage plays a large part in the creation of dioxins. The natural processes that would create dioxins include volcanic explosions and large forest fires. Now, how are we exposed to dioxins? What most people don't know is that dioxins are found worldwide, and we've all been exposed to them. The highest levels of dioxins are found in soil, sediments, dairy products, meat, and fish. In fact, over 90% of human exposure to dioxin is through food or the ingredients in our food, the vast majority. This is because dioxins accumulate in the fatty tissue of animals that are later sold as food to humans. For example, a study in Belgium from 1999 found high levels of dioxins in poultry and eggs, which was traced back to animal feed in particular locations. Furthermore, there are also subgroups of people that are particularly susceptible to dioxin exposure from other sources besides food. In particular, people who work at incineration plants or hazardous waste sites are definitely exposed to an abnormally high amount of dioxins.
Natalie, have you finished your outline for the report we've been assigned? You know, the one about the biology field trip to Hawthorne Oceanic Research Facility.
Hi, Greg. I'm still thinking about what topic to focus on. I thought maybe the subject of symbiosis.
Oh, yes. I remember that the chapter about it in our textbook was really fascinating, particularly the symbiotic relationships involving cleaner fish, like the wrasse fish we studied.
And there were moray eels at the Hawthorne facilities, as well as wrasse fish. I can describe in detail the cleaning process between those two species.
What did that involve again?
Well, the moray eels and wrasse fish were in the same tank living on a reef. The wrasse fish gathered inside the reef and hung around until other fish showed up.
Ah, I remember. The eels went there to be cleaned.
Yes, Mr. Horace explained that.
He did. He said they usually gathered together near the cleaning station.
Yeah, and then the wrasse fish would approach the moray eels there while they were resting. And that's when they would start the cleaning process.
Right, I remember. First, they clean up the eel's gills by eating parasites and bacteria.
Yes, they actually eat that stuff right off the eels. And they pick away the dead scales as well.
Actually, you might also want to mention that the eels really rely on the fish because the parasites they eat are quite dangerous.
Uh-huh.
Also, at the end, the moray eels would often open their mouths and let the wrasse fish swim inside to clean as well. I thought it was really fascinating to see that part of the process.
Now, all I have to do is come up with some other examples of symbiotic relationships.
Check out the list of references on Mr. Horace's course outline. I'm sure you can find something suitable on it.
You now have 15 seconds to check your answers.